Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I have said over and over and over again, Trump pulling his bullshit will turn around and end up biting him in the ass over and over and over again. Today, which is the 23rd of May, there was a ruling that came down after Trump went after Harvard University once again, revoking the certification necessary to actually accept international students. So they canceled that and they tried to actually kick out all the international students. The problem is 20% of Harvard students are from the international student body that come through on these special certifications, and that's where we get a lot of the breakthroughs and the true Einstein visa type of immigrants coming into this country after graduating and going through the correct process. But the 20% of Harvard student body being the international force actually is a huge financial portion of the school itself. So getting rid of, kicking out, evicting the foreign students is detrimental to the future of Harvard University. And Harvard University is responsible for some of the biggest breakthroughs, not only in medicine, but also in science in the history of this country. So the attack on Harvard is actually set up from not just Trump family pettiness, because Harvard, of course, turned down Barron Trump for admission into Harvard, but also it falls under the purview of the Ivy League schools being protected and the knowledge that they give to their students being protected. And these people that are teaching at Harvard are very, very important to keep in the fold of our education, because the opinions that they share are unlike any of the other opinions on the faculty or in any other faculty. For instance, another example of Trump's pettiness and, allegiance to Uncle Vladdy is a Russian Harvard scientist, a doctor, a medical doctor, and who has been studying in cancer research for a very, very long time. This wonderful woman was actually given a green card, given asylum here in the States because Vladimir Putin specifically targeted her and threatened her life, because she was a powerful scientist and medical professional and very outspoken against Putin and the Putin regime. So she went on a trip to France, came back from France with undocumented frog's legs. Just as a sample, she forgot to write it on a piece of paper. They kept her in jail for 3 months. She is supposed to be getting out of jail. Instead of getting her out of jail, Donald Jackass Trump has spoken to his Uncle Vladdy and actually agreed to send her back to Russia. This woman, Harvard medical professor, is on the brink of a possible cure for cancer, and he's sending her to Russia. Now, what that actually means, sending someone back to Russia, can be illustrated by a young Ukrainian reporter that was targeted by Russia and was found and was incarcerated and was tortured. Her body was returned to her family, missing most of her organs, including eyes, brains, and the way evil men would torture a beautiful young woman. And what was left of her was dropped off at her parents' house on Valentine's Day. This is the pettiness, this is the bullshit, this is the crap that Donald Trump is doing to a Harvard professor, on top of trying to force Harvard to change their curriculum, on top of attacking Harvard's funding and trying to throw Harvard people in jail, on top of all the fucking attacks from Donald Jackass Trump to Harvard University, is all based on personal hairs up his fat orange ass. And the problem with that is these are the types of people. This is the type of learning institution that needs to be protected for the freedom and for the progress in America's future, not just medicinally, but scientifically and in every other way. These institutions have produced, Harvard especially has produced more top-tier lawyers than any other college in this country. So him taking these steps that are illegal against a school like Harvard is almost as stupid as him trying to arrest a federal Democratic judge for doing her job. It is something the ego of this man cannot control, but the guardrails in the system of the United States of fucking America will keep him in check. The judge that filed a lawsuit against Donald Trump for doing what he did, Harvard filed a lawsuit to protect their international students, and they won. And that judge who was arrested won. And 147 executive orders, 75% of them were shot down. Ladies and gentlemen, all of the scary bullshit this man is doing, all of the very, very important people and important places that this man is attacking, they all have teeth. They all have strength behind them, and behind each and every one of these organizations is all of us, not just domestically, but internationally, shoulder to shoulder. We must stand together, we must unite, and we must fight back louder and prouder and more obnoxious than ever before. But being armed with facts, with intelligence, and with kindness, because that is what it's supposed to be about. Ladies and gentlemen, a rising tide lifts all boats, and that's internationally. So stay diligent, stay educated, and be kind. We are all in this together. God bless.